Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be switching it up and doing something different that I plan on doing monthly, and that is my budgeting for the month of August. And for this I use an Excel sheet where I track all of my income, all my expenses such as rent, groceries, and gas, and also my investing and saving, so we can get to look back on the month and see how I manage my money for the month of August. Without further ado, let's get into it.
So here we have the budget sheet that I've built up for this year. And as you can see, I sort out my incomes, expenses into different categories, right? And if I scroll down, there's endless of this that's on here, right? But that's not what we're here to focus on. What we're going to be looking at is these numbers over here for the month of August, right? Let me zoom out one or two. All right. And then go ahead and move the center. Yeah, that looks good. So what I can do here, I can change this so it changes the month uh, to, and this is how I change it month to month. But we're talking about August, so I'm gonna put it on 8, right? And automatically, what we can see is that my income for this month was $6,449, right? And this is both from my job and then some money I made on the side with a little bit of extra hustling, such as like reselling some stuff and whatnot, right? And then we can see I spent $180 on groceries. I usually like to do my grocery shopping at Costco. And I try to make meals that are really simple to make. For example, I get like ravioli, bananas, apples, ground beef. And I usually just make the ravioli. One pack of ravioli makes me about 4 meals, which is about 4 meal preps for my lunch for the work week. And then I spent $232 in entertainment. Now, this is a lot higher than I'd expect my normal cost to be because it was also my birthday in August. So I definitely enjoyed myself a little bit more than usual, and that includes going out drinking and buying alcohol for my birthday function, right? Uh, One really nice thing, my utilities are included in my rent, so I don't have to worry about that. My eats, or eating out, was $270. Similar thing here, I think I spent a little bit more than I normally would, because it was my birthday month and I had friends coming into town, so we're eating out and stuff like that. But overall, again, I don't mind spending money on food because one, food is good. I love eating food. Second, it's also an experience. I get to be with those around me who are important to me and share that moment and intimacy while eating food. And then next, I spent $560 on my business, aka like my side hustle. And this could just be like materials that I'm using to resell, or for example, I have to pay like Amazon monthly to sell on Amazon. I think it's like $40 a month. So that's included in that and some other things that are on there. And then I invested $3,800 for the month. I saved $1,000 in my high yield savings account. My rent was 700, and finally I spent 170 on gas. I traveled a good amount. I went to Houston. I went to A&M, so that drove my gas price up, and I also get my gas at Costco. Now, one thing you will notice here if you're looking at this is that my total spend for the month is greater than my income for the month. And why would I do this, right? That's a good question to ask, fair question. And the reason is now that I have let's say, a stable job, right? That I'm more, have a routine kind of around my job, I have a pay schedule and stuff like that. I can afford not to have as much money in my checking account, right? So what I did instead of having this money sitting in my checking account, which I normally would, so I have that extra bit of flexibility because I never know what will happen in life. Since now I have a more consistent income stream, I took these eight extra 500 or so dollars and I decided to invest them because I could have kept that money in my checking account, but then that money's not working for me. So I much rather have money that's not doing anything and deploy it to the markets where it's gonna fight for me as hard as I did to earn it, right? So that's what we see here. And then also I have one more category, total wealth. That means my total contributions for the month of August towards my wealth, aka savings and investments, was $4,800. And here on the right, we also have like the year to date um, equivalent of all of these and roughly how I'm spending my income uh, fortunately to all of this. And I also need to update this so it includes rent and gas. These are two categories I recently entered. And then my rent actually starting September is decreasing to 600 a month. So that's going to give me an extra $100 a month roughly where I can use to invest it.
So this is how I'm keeping track of my money, especially now that I'm working, is it's super important to have an idea where this money is going. Because I know a lot of people who they're working, they're making money, but then if you ask them how are they spending their money, they won't know really. They won't. And here I can see exactly where I spent every single dollar that I earned, where it went. So I know where I'm spending my money. So I know if I need to shift something, if I'm overspending on something. For example, I think I overspent a little bit on entertainment. So that's a little unfair. So I think I'm gonna cut that down a little bit. And then we'll adjust. Maybe I'll spend a little bit more money on eating out, for example. So it's all about a balance and making those trade-offs. And the only reason I can make these informed decisions is because I have the data to look back on. So budgeting is super important because how are you supposed to save money and build your wealth if you can't even be aware of where you're spending your money currently, right? So I really suggest that everyone has some type of budgeting. It doesn't have to be an Excel sheet like mine is. You could do it on a Acorn, right? The app on your phone or whatever it is. Just have a way of monitoring your money so you know where you're spending your paychecks so you can make sure that you're not overspending, right? Because there's some people, they make way more money than me on a monthly basis. They could be making 12K a month, right? And they're like, yeah, like I should be fine. But they don't track their money, so they overspend more than they're making. So they're actually going negative rather than building their wealth and building towards something, which is crazy because they have such a high income, but due to their lack of discipline to track their finances, they're digging a hole for themselves instead of using that high income to propel themselves forward. So, with all that being said, I really encourage you to start thinking of your money differently and start budgeting it, even if it's one category at a time. Even if you just start with your income and your rent, right? That will just help build the habit. And then eventually you're going to want to throw in your groceries. Oh, I'm curious, how much am I spending? And when you slowly start adding all these categories, you'll completely understand your financial perspective. And then you'll be able to make a game plan on how you want to build your wealth. And get towards that point where you can retire eventually and not have to worry about Social Security or being a burden to your family, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave a link to a budgeting tool that I have in the description. Feel free to go ahead and use it, change it, whatnot. And yeah, that's it for today. If you have anything else that you want me to cover, if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, leave them below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye bye.